wine for a few hours and bike back, and I'd be texting my friends back in Ottawa, and they'd be swearing at me. It's called gastronomy. It's made by Niagara College, so the students at Niagara College. My wife and I actually worked at Kim Crawford for a stint a few years ago, just doing a harvest, and that was pretty incredible.
One thing that I'm really impressed with is some people obviously know their wine and can like smell it and taste it, and you know, they can pick out the grapes. But Mike, you're able to pour with both hands.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to do that.
You were working around the mic. I think it is really cool though that they have. So you get these kids that are young and creative. Yeah. And, you know, are willing to take risks.
And then, you know, the research and the studying that you have to do in a wine course around this area. I mean, that's the tough part, though. So
yeah, you got to go and
do that.
Get out and do the research.
Tester.
Yeah. The novelty of lugging the 50-liter kegs around at my age was wearing thin. I don't have the build that you guys have, you know. I think just bringing them into this room, which is mind-boggling.
We don't call it the cellar for no reason. Yeah, that would be, you know, when we run out of there, we just drill a hole. Okay, welcome to the Wine Stuff and Wine podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Perry, and our host, Evan McDonald.
Hello.
And Jesse McDonald. And we've got a very special guest, Mike Burlis. Thanks for joining the podcast. We appreciate it.
Nice to be here.
You know, we like to start off these things with a little bit of an introduction, you know, to yourself. So why don't you introduce yourself?
Well, my name is Mike Burlis. I moved down to Niagara Lake 17 years ago now, so it's hard to believe it's gone that quickly. Moved from Ottawa, so moved as far south in Ontario as we geographically could. There were a number of attractions, obviously, to Niagara Lake. We've been, like many people, we've been coming down here for years before, going to the Shaw Festival, and, of course, going to some wineries along the way. I took a sommelier course in Ottawa out of interest. I'd been in the insurance business. I'd taken a huge gamut of insurance courses, which became very tedious near the end. And I thought, let's do something more exciting, and wine was more exciting. So, the wineries were obviously a big attraction. Moved down here, as I say, 17 years ago, and ended up working part-time at Inniskillen, which was a great spot. I mean, I'd take my bike up by the canal and go and talk to people about wine for a few hours and bike back, and I'd be texting my friends back in Ottawa, and they'd be swearing at me. It's just a great lifestyle down here, so we've thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of the same story for a lot of us at the table.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the Wine Stuff and Wine podcast. So you brought a bottle of wine. You're going to tell us what's special about it, and you know I guess how it ties you back into Niagara, and a little story about the bottle you brought.
Yeah, I mean, there are lots of wines that I could tie myself to, I'm sure, but this one is called Gastronomy. It's made by Niagara College, so the students at Niagara College, which I'm a big fan of the college, just with what it does in this area, from culinary to winery to brewery to all the students that are able to get out from there and work in this area is amazing. So we helped, we've been sort of affiliated with the college through Les Marmitons, which is a men's cooking group, and I've belonged to that for many years, and the president of it this year in Niagara. Nice. And it's a great group that normally get together at the college. We do some cooking and so on, but we always pair the food with wine, and we have an affiliation to Niagara College wines just because we're there. So we created the label. We created a little bit of a blurb on the back about Les Marmitons, called it gastronomy wine, which ties into the food and wine. Yes. We make or have made a Pinot Noir, a Chardonnay, and a Fumé Blanc, which is what I brought along with me. They've all actually sold out very quickly. So I had a few bottles of Fumé Blanc left in my cellar, which was good. So anxious to try it. It's Fumé Blanc is a bit of a different one. Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, I'm sure you've tried numerous ones from this area, but Fumé Blanc is a up and coming wine. I think more wineries are making it. Sauvignon Blanc based, so Sauvignon Blanc, but with a little bit of oak aging, so it gives it a bit more of a structure to it. So
is that is that the reason for the Fumé, or is that
that's the reason for the Fumé?
Okay.
Yeah. So it was coined actually in Robert Mondavi out in California started the idea of Fumé Blanc to distinguish it from Sauvignon Blanc that's known from Sancerre in France to Sauvignon Blancs and Kim Crawford Sauvignon Blanc in New Zealand. So my wife and I actually worked at Kim Crawford for for a stint a few years ago, just doing a harvest, and that was pretty incredible. And Sauvignon Blanc there is, I mean, we smelt of New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc for months after we it was just incredible. But that herbaceous, like grassy sort of smell and the acidity and so on, that's a real New Zealand sort of thing. This is a little bit different. So if you're anxious to try it.
Let's get into it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do the pouring. Should I do the honors?
Yeah.
Yes, please. It's because it's interesting because we've had three Niagara College wines here now, right?
Yeah, have you?
Yeah, Tim Coons.
Okay, yeah.
Oh shoot, the other one. Oh my gosh, it was Tim. He brought one. Our second. Who was that? Can't remember, but we've tried it now. This would be our third. It's a different wine every time.
Yeah,
I didn't know they had that many.
It's pretty impressive. One thing that I'm really impressed with is some people obviously know their wine and can like smell it and taste it, and they can pick out the grapes. But Mike, you're able to pour with both hands.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to do that.
You were working around the mic.
Trying to do it around the mic.
Left, pouring right.
So,
This is a guy who's committed.
I didn't do it that well, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, So
let's get into this.
Yeah, so you can see it's sort of a little bit of almost a touch of green in there with fumés. They tend to sort of have that little bit of hue, but wonderful aromas that come through, but not as pronounced as some of the. I'm sure you've tried some of the Sauvignon Blanc wines. Crawford obviously is the one that most people would try, because particularly 2008 when we were there making it, so we're helping to make it. They have a taste now. So a bit more structure, a little bit more of that caramel vanilla kind of comes through on there, which is the oak aging. It's not a lot of oak.
It's definitely soft.
Yeah,
there's definitely a soft softness to it for sure.
Not as heavy as an oak aged Chardonnay, but heavier than a non-oaked Sauvignon Blanc. So very intriguing wine, and there are a few wineries in this area that are making it, which I think is fun. And I think part of the fun, going back to the college, is not to be pushing them so much, but it's because they're a teaching winery, they try different things, and they're trying to always think outside the box a little bit, and that's what a lot of wineries in this area are doing now, which I think is intriguing. So I'm sure you've had the opportunity to travel around the area and check a few wineries out.
Yeah. Well, I think it is really cool though that they have. So you get these kids that are young and creative. Yeah. And, are willing to take risks, right? Yeah. I think when people are established, they might be a little bit less likely to take risks because they've been taught from their grandparents that this is the process, this is how it's done, and this is our wine, that kind of thing. But I think Niagara College has opened up a lot of creativity where you have access to all the best equipment, all the different methods, the science behind each methodology too. So it's actually something that we want to do. I'd like to take a course at Niagara College and learn a little bit more and have the chance to go through that process, because there's something to be said about giving people a risk-free environment to be creative.
Yeah, it's brilliant now. I mean, I agree. I think the wonderful thing about their programs are that it's not only wine program, but they also do a brewery program. They also have a distillery program. They have a cannabis program, so it's a one-stop shop.
They have
everything.
They've always had a cannabis program.
Well, they always have. Hasn't always been accredited.
Yeah. My brother-in-law is he's taking baking, I guess, and so we just stopped by. My father-in-law has the winery right on top of the escarpment behind the Niagara College.
Oh, okay.
Paradiso. But we were there yesterday for dinner, and he brought out 3 pies. So not only are they getting super creative with their wines, but like these were incredible pies. They weren't even pies; they're like candy crust.
Oh yeah,
like, you know what I mean? And it was just like it was just amazing. They had pecan and cashew and all these crazy flavors that I wouldn't even thought should go together, and they did. And it's just beautiful. So kudos to Niagara College for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and to that end, I mean, what you're thinking about is Niagara on the Lake, and that's a big part of Niagara on the Lake, because all these students, or not all, but a lot of them, that come out of those programs, culinary or winery or brewery, and so we'll end up working in this area.
That's right.
Which is why we have such a wonderful culinary group of people. I mean, all the restaurants in this area are phenomenal, and the wineries are wonderful, and the breweries are really building up, and distilleries and cideries. And I mean, there's just so much here. And
I agree.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think Niagara College is doing a great thing for the area. It's awesome. Yeah. So maybe we'll be enrolled in a course there pretty soon. That'd be great. Figure something out.
We'll take the podcast live on location.
Yeah.
Just got to find some time.
Yeah. No, it is true though. Like they do offer some good courses where
you could do it part-time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the research and the studying that you have to do in a wine course around this area. I mean, that's the tough part, though. So
you got to go and
do that.
Get out and do the research.
Tester.
And so, Mike, I might have missed this at the beginning. Where are you now?
I'm in Niagara on the Lake. I'm not working. I retired.
You retired now?
I retired a long time ago. But I came out of retirement to work I retired actually at 52, and we moved down here. So. But I worked at the winery at Jackson Triggs in Enniskillen, the two of them together really, and had a wonderful time. And then a few of us that were there, we actually started talking about a brewery. One of the intriguing things about this area was at that time there were a lot of wineries, but no brewery. And most wine regions in the world have breweries in them. So three of us kind of got our heads together. We talked for a year or two, and opened up Osthaus Brewers, which was the first brewery in this area, and now there are lots of them.
Right.
So it's now 10 years old, which is hard to believe that was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So I'm no longer involved in that. As I've often said, I mean, the novelty of lugging the 50-liter kegs around at my age was wearing thin. I don't have the build that you guys have, so I just I sort of sold it back. But Kean's running it now. He's doing a great job. Right. It's a fabulous, really great business going on. And I still go out and drink and promote as much as I can. So
good.
I think that's important.
I think that's important.
Do what I can. Yeah.
We had quality control.
Yeah.
You just got to stop in every once in a while, make sure it's still up to snuff.
Yeah. We had some growlers on Fridays delivered to us. So it's fun. Yeah. I get a growler for each one of my son's birthday. It's not for them, but it's for me. I don't know. It's interesting. My buddy Alex from Performance Mercedes always just comes and just drops, hey, here you go. Okay, thanks. So then a guy like you can't be doing nothing with his retirement. What are you doing? What do you like to do here?
Well, the Marmiton, actually, men's cooking group, does keep me busy. We've got a gala event that was our gala 2020. It was supposed to be in June of 2020. Things happened just before that. Yeah. And fast forward to 21 to 22. So our 2020 gala is now in 2022. June 2022. So we have about 200 people that come from. We have 19 chapters across Canada and the United States. So we have about 200 people usually that attend the gala, and this is a wonderful place to showcase for that. So we're gearing up. We've got dinners set up and wine tours set up, and we're going to be at Ravine, and we're going to be at Niagara College, and we've got our main event at White Oaks, which is a wonderful facility. So
yeah, that's true.
So it's a lot of work putting those kind of things together. So
yeah,
that's
so 200 guests will be doing all of this touring.
Right, and we have a grand dinner, which is our main focus, our main event at White Oaks. So we're
how do you get on this circuit?
Yeah. It's it's a men's cooking event, a cooking group. The way I describe it is it's men from all different walks of life, with all different skill sets, but just an interest in food and wine. And a lot of the women involved, spouses and so on, say, well, it doesn't quite seem fair. And then a lot of the other women say, be quiet. All the guys, for the most part, do all the cooking at home. So girls they say, that's okay then. That's good.
It's a good trade-off.
So it's a good trade-off.
This is actually interesting information. Evan could use a few
Absolutely.
lessons.
You're welcome to come as a guest sometime. I mean, it's we historically had met at Niagara College, but in the last couple of years, that hasn't been possible because of COVID. But we now meet at a wonderful Croatian hall in Welland, and have about 20 or so guys together with a guest chef, so we get to know all the chefs in the area, and we create a meal in a couple of hours, and then we sit down and enjoy it and pair it up with some nice local wines. So it's
I love it.
Oh, nice. So you always have a chef then that's coaching you guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the chef will create the menu, source the ingredients.
And who pairs the wines? You guys would pair it?
We'll pair it with the chef.
Yeah.
Some chefs will say you do it, others, and we pair it sometimes with beer and sometimes with distilled spirits. I mean, we'll just do a little bit of anything depending on the menu. But the part that's fun really is getting to know the chefs in the area. And also, most chefs are really intrigued with local produce. So local, trying to use local ingredients at the time is part of the fun too. So it's partly educational. We learn, obviously, as we go. Every night we try and learn something. But we also just try and have some fun.
Yeah.
I love it.
That is nice.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, if you're ever interested, let me know.
I am interested.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now.
Okay. Get you down there.
So I guess most of the men bring back what they've learned, to their families and say, hey, let me cook for you one night, right?
That's the idea. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So it works.
To work
well.
on your skills at home, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you do the cooking at home or do you?
I do all the barbecue stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So I do all the
real men's thing.
Exactly. So if I'm doing the cooking, we'll do everything on the barbecue.
Yeah.
See, but the funny thing is my wife's vegan.
Okay.
So that's kind of my excuse why I don't cook a lot, because I'm like, I'm just never going to cook anything that you're really going to like. It's funny because when we first met, I didn't really know what veganism was.
Yeah.
So when she woke up, it was for Valentine's Day. She showed me the picture. This is why it's so fresh in my memory. She showed it to me the other day. It was like 10 almonds, some sliced fruit, and like some orange juice. And she's like, "What is this?" I'm like, "A vegan breakfast." And she's like, "Am I a bird?" So I didn't understand it, but now, 8 years later, I am learning how to cook things, without egg or without dairy. And I'm actually very surprised how many things are vegan that I eat normally that you're like, oh, I didn't even know. Yeah. So it's interesting, but no, we got a pizza oven too.
Oh, good. Yeah.
So I've been doing the barbecue, the pizza oven, and those nights, I'll take care of everything. Yeah, but my wife's very, let's say, culinary cultured, I guess you could say. She's Italian, but like she cooks like Indian, Colombian, like food from all over the world. It's amazing.
Or the fun to experiment.
Yeah, absolutely. And she loves like hot food.
I don't cook anything.
Guys, you don't cook anything? You don't share the cooking? No?
No, Jesse does
do all the cooking, Jesse?
Yeah. We eat pretty healthy at home. Yeah. He definitely doesn't cook anything. And then, but I make better dishes, I feel like, when we have company over, because then the butters and the spices and the good stuff comes out.
Right. You do a lot of entertaining?
Yeah. I definitely like to entertain. Yeah. Yes. Ever since we were young, we were hosting big Thanksgiving dinners and stuff. Like we moved to Niagara and we don't have any family here even to this day. Right. So when we were younger, Thanksgiving was basically our teammates. So we wouldn't go home for Thanksgiving because we had to train. Right. So we would have like the teammates over who didn't have family that was close. So that kind of started it all for entertaining. I think when you grow up too in a family where you have like the formal dining room table and like your parents entertain, then it becomes the norm. Mm-hmm. Where I have friends that don't really do that, but I don't know if that was necessarily their norm at home. Where I was basically exposed to that and kind of went along with it.
Right.
Yeah.
So you ended up staying here. That's the kind of questions you ask, obviously, your guests. But what intrigued you to stay in this area? Just
so I moved.
Same as all of us.
Yeah, like I moved here in 2003, and I honestly thought in 2008 I was out. I remember coming into town, and I was like, I'm out of here in 5 years once I get my degree. Right. And I honestly fell in love with Niagara in general. And then obviously we met. Basically, the year I went to Brock, and that obviously kept us. And there was actually a tipping point where we almost left in 2015, only because, again, we didn't have family here. That was our driving factor to potentially move. And we just said, you know what, we like Niagara so much, and we like the proximity to, the U.S. and Toronto and all those things as well. We really feel it's a big hub, and, we were also quite invested in Niagara, just in real estate and things like that, where we just decided this was going to be.
Yeah, we actually, it's funny that you mentioned that. I forgot all about that. But when you start talking about having a family, and then you have no support system, so then we were like, well, maybe we should move closer to family. But we went, and so it was like we were going to move closer to her family in Windsor. And we went there for like kind of like looking at houses and stuff. And I was just like, man, like we had like a breakdown basically together. We're like, we can't do this. Like, I don't think I would like living here.
Different area.
Yeah, like we just loved it here so much, and it was just like, we can't leave, right? So, and Niagara-on-the-Lake has kind of become like that central spot for us where like it's, that's when we were young, we'd go for dates and drive out here.
Right.
And, go have a picnic down by the river, and we would go on our boat and go to the other side and go to what's the name of the place we'd go for concerts? Haven't had any in a couple years now.
Art Park.
Yeah, Art Park.
Art Park. Yeah, that's great.
So you go to the Brickyard.
Sure. Yeah.
And then get some smoked meat and go to a show. It's like a whole different world.
It is. Yeah.
But it's like a boat ride away, right? So yeah, it's hard to beat. We've really fallen in love with the area. So and you got a similar story. Came here from Ottawa.
Yeah. What intrigues me actually about Niagara on the Lake is that there are some people that were born and bred here, but they're few. And for the most part, it's people that have made a conscious decision to actually move to this area, which is a different group, a different population. And because they've made that decision, they're very proud of the area. They're very intrigued with the community. They'll show it off to friends and relatives that come down and say, this is why I made this move, because it's such a wonderful place. So it's a kind of an interesting, different dynamic and different enthusiasm, which I'm sure you find when you're talking to your clients. But
well, there's definitely, you're saying it, and I'm kind of seeing the word pride. Like I see that people from Niagara Lake have pride that they come from here or they moved here and are established here. Like you see that where, I don't know, like if you necessarily see that in a lot of places.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of places people live there or work there because they have to.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So you're there for a reason, for a purpose. Where I find that most people end up here
because they want to.
Yeah, and so that's the difference with this area, is that this is a final destination where people end up here because they want to be here.
Right.
And it has nothing to do with work, and it has nothing to do with what necessity in your life. Where in our business, we buying and selling houses, like people are always moving for necessity.
Right.
I want to be closer to this school. I work here. I want the drive can't be more than 40 minutes because I can't handle that. Yeah. And then when people call us and say they want to live in Niagara Lake, it's like none of that is a factor.
Yeah.
Right. Instead of, I really like it. I'd like to be close to, walking to downtown, right, to Old Town, or I want to be on the water, but not this far away, or I want this much space. But like it's never about like the commute. It's never about that necessity. It's that like it's a dream. Yeah,
right? Yeah. So it makes it a different dynamic. I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really think so. It's an intriguing thing to sort of think of. It's why is this town, so intriguing in many ways, and I think that's part of it.
I agree.
Yeah. So what, just ask your favorite question.
My favorite question. So we always like to ask our guests, Niagara on the Lake, where would you say is your number one choice to go for a date?
Ooh, that's tricky because there are so many good spots.
Some people really struggle with this one.
Yeah.
We had Joe Pelletier on. He named every restaurant in Niagara.
That's the thing.
He's like, I'm going to play this one safe. Pulled out a book and named every restaurant.
You'd want to name them all. I would think, it depends on the time of year, but if it was a nice summer evening, the gazebo at Riverbend, which is now Oakland's, having dinner there overlooking the vineyard towards Peller Estate is pretty mesmerizing. I mean, that at any given time, and we used to, before it changed over, we used to go and just get a glass of wine with friends of ours and sit in the Muskoka chairs and just look at the vineyards in the afternoon, and it's brilliant. So anything like that, any kind of venue like that is mesmerizing, and I love the food there, and now that it's changed over, it's really an interesting place to go. So that would be, the start of the date. I guess the date would go on, and I don't know how many details you want about how the end of the date should be. But there are so many wonderful restaurants and venues here, and a lot of them are at wineries.
Yes,
so, I mean, some of the wineries up on the bench area, again, just sitting out there, even to this day, even after being here for the length of time that I've been here, I still sit there with a glass of wine and look out at the vista and say, wow, this is pretty amazing. How lucky are we to be here?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's pretty incredible. And then the last 2 years, I think a lot of us have spent some time thinking, wow, this is tough. And I'm lucky at the stage of life. I don't have the worry of a job or the worry of young kids at my feet for 24/7. But really, this has been a wonderful place to be locked down in.
Yeah.
You're going to have to be locked down. We could still get out and walk. We could bike along the parkway. We could, enjoy some local wines who were delivering them to the door with, free delivery. So that was another positive.
That. Yeah.
So it's So I don't know. It doesn't really answer the question, but I mean, there are lots of different ways of doing it. But
well, to be honest, that's one place we haven't been.
Yeah, surprisingly, I don't know how we've never ended up there, but it's been brought up a couple times.
Yeah,
it's a great patio in the back, but they have a gazebo there that you can specifically rent. So if you had 4 of you, or for dinner, it would be a wonderfully great spot to be. So.
Nice.
Just as a thought. So yeah, that's kind of
awesome. We'll do that for sure.
Take our next brokerage lunch.
Hey, now we're talking.
Yeah, exactly.
A business lunch. A lot of good business would get done there.
Done there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have a lot of good business lunches with some good local wine.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of what we do for sure.
It's kind of even from obviously a team standpoint here at Revel on the Lake, but also I know we're both very invested in showing the lifestyle that Niagara on the Lake provides to the people who are moving here, and obviously the residents. So when new buyers will come, we'll take them out. Mm-hmm. Typically for me, judging on what my buyers' wants and needs are, it varies. We could go for shepherd's pie at the Irish Harp.
Right.
If we're looking for fine dining, maybe we go to the old winery. Maybe we go to Two Sisters. Yeah. It's very different, and I usually set everything up based on what I know about them. And because again, like there are some high real estate prices here, I'd say, but once you show the new potential buyers what we have to offer in terms of lifestyle and community, it just blows them away.
Well, I think just bringing them into this room, which is mind-boggling.
We don't call it the cellar for no reason.
Wine on the wall and barrels down here. It's great. So clearly the emphasis on the local.
On the local
product.
For sure.
Absolutely.
We got to get a batch going in these.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be, when we run out of there, we just drill a hole here and get the sieve or whatever you call it.
Your straw
sucky thing.
Yeah.
Now, do you actually drink those wines from there, or you pull them off the shelf?
We do.
We had to on the last episode.
Yeah, so a lot of our clients, obviously, like you said, come from out of town, right? Yeah. And so we come, we meet here, we can go through like the different things that we're going to go look at. A lot of people don't even know what they want. Right. They just visited here.
They want to be here.
There's something about it they love, and they decide they want to move here, right? So a lot of clients come in like that, and they don't even know what they want. And you have to go and show them a couple different things. And that's why we do helicopter tours and we do jet ski tours and stuff like that to give people a sense of all of Niagara on the Lake. And then, so we give them a couple bottles of wine from local wine. So people come in, we say, grab a couple bottles, take them home, see what you think. And then when they come back, we'll bring them to those wineries, give them, it's fun because you get to say, oh, I had that bottle. Okay, let's go there. Let's go there for lunch.
Yeah. And then they say to you, now, whatever house you do show me, it has to have a wall like that in it.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah,
and we build them for a small price, so it's
No, it's great.
No, but we've had a couple people where we've given them the bottle, and then they'll have it, but then to be able to drive down the street and see it, I think a lot of times people don't make that connection,
right?
Where you come here and you a lot of this is available at the LCBO or all over the world, but a lot of times people don't make that connection to like it's right there, and then when you walk in, a lot of times you can meet the owner or someone who's, the winemaker there, and you can actually talk to these people that are right. And I think most things in life, there isn't that connection.
Yeah.
Where here, it's really got that small town feel, and you can get right into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's what we were talking before about restaurants. I mean, that's clearly, the focus of a lot of the restaurants to have the farm to table idea.
Yeah.
You're eating that. Oh, do you like that? Well, the farm is just down the road.
Yeah.
And you like that glass of wine? Well, that winery is just down there. And to be able then to go, as you said, to go to those places and talk to the owners, it's special. Not a lot of places you can do that, so it's fun.
I agree.
Absolutely.
I agree. Well, this is
another great episode, great conversation. Anything else you want to add? Is there something that we missed?
No, I don't think so. No, I think we covered wine, real estate, and Niagara on the Lake. I mean,
Is there any
main topics?
Is your gala fully sold out?
We're just starting up again. We as I said, we've postponed it through till June. We just made the decision a few weeks ago to sort of that we think normal will have returned by June.
Yep.
It's a crossing the fingers type of idea, but I think we're on our way to back to whatever normal is these days.
Good.
So it's tricky. I mean, even a month ago, you couldn't have gatherings of over 50 or something.
Right.
So it's changing rapidly, but the worry is that it's going to change again.
Collapse again.
Terrible. So.
It keeps changing. But
I think it's going to be a good focus. So.
Yeah, I'm excited that, you know what, so I'm going to say just a big shout out to Niagara College for making awesome wine and having an impact on the industry and the culture in Niagara Lake on a whole. This one here, I've never had this before, Gastronomy Fumé Blanc.
Yeah, and it's a bit of a teaser because it is sold out. So, you'll now want to go and buy a case, and unfortunately you can't. But we will be making more gastronomy wine labels with the college. We're probably going to come up with a Viognier and a few other wines. So it'll be fun to do it. But they've all been.
It's a shame. So you can't try it unless you got some in your cellar.
Somebody,
too bad, because
somebody special and invite them over to chat to you and bring a bottle.
That was wonderful.
Well, thank you very much.
Nice to share it with you. It's great.
Yeah, Mike, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. And for those out there, thanks for watching and listening.